man revealed a list of his 72 sexual partners to help trace an outbreak. The media turned him into a villain who spread disease on purpose. The next time he had died and couldn't defend himself anymore, what happened? This is the story of AIDS, where it came from, and where it still is. June 1981, Los Angeles. 5 men walked into a hospital. They were young and strong, but they had a lung infection only seen in people with no immune system. Then dark purple spots of Kaposi's sarcoma spread across their skin. They had fevers, diarrhea, lost weight week after week. All these first cases appeared within a closely connected social network of young men. Society called it their disease. It's a moral punishment. Some even called it homosexual cancer. 1982, a sick man sat down and wrote a letter. His name was Gaetan Dugas, 32 years old, flight attendant for Air Canada. He flew everywhere. Friends said he was charming and kind. In the letter, he said he had shaved head for chemotherapy. He felt exposed, but at the end he wrote, "I was ready to fight. I would beat this." That year, CDC epidemiologists found him. He gave them 72 names of his sexual partners. In his final days, he volunteered to help other infected patients. But March 1984, he died, only 32 years old. 3 years later, the book and the band Played On came out. It painted him as a villain who deliberately spread the infection. The media ran with it. Headlines got worse. His family lived with shame for years. But all just because of a typo. In the case files, O stood for Outside California. But someone mistyped it as 0. Patient O became Patient 0 as the source of all evil. We now know that AIDS arrived in the US in 1971, before Dugas ever began his flying career. He was just one of thousands infected patients. So where did the virus really come from? We need to go back to a more distant era. Around 1920, deep forest in southeastern Cameroon, a hunter killed or butchered a chimpanzee and got blood on himself. At that moment, a virus that lived in chimps for millions of years entered the human body for the first time. The virus drifted down the Sangha River, reached the Congo River, arrived at Leopoldville, which is called Kinshasa now. At that time, Kinshasa had railways. Over 1 million people passed through every year. It also had crowded labor camps, reused medical needles, and high rates of transactional sex. From 1920 to 1950, the virus spread through people, slow and silent. The city with high mobility became its breeding ground. While fear spread on the streets, scientists worked in labs. What was destroying the immune system? Late 1982, Paris doctor Willy Rosenbaum and Pasteur Institute virologist Luc Montagnier teamed up. They noticed AIDS patients had very low T cells. To find the virus, they needed to catch it early, from patients with swollen lymph nodes. French scientist Françoise Barré-Sinoussi started the hunt. She and her colleague Claude Sherman took a lymph node sample from a patient, grew the T cells in a lab. Week 2, the test came back. Reverse transcriptase activity was positive. A retrovirus was replicating. Then, electron microscope specialist Charles Doguet finally saw the virus particles. 1983, his team published their findings, announcing they had isolated a new virus. They named it LAV. In 1986, it was renamed HIV, Human Immunodeficiency Virus. 2008, Barré-Sinoussi and Luc Montagnier won the Nobel Prize for this. Now they could finally explain why this virus was so deadly. HIV attacks CD4 T cells. That is the generals of your immune system. It enters a cell, turns its RNA into DNA, hides inside the host's own genes. That's reverse transcription. Then the host cell becomes a virus factory. New viruses infect more CD4 cells. As CD4 cells disappear, the immune system collapses. The real killers become other infections and cancers. Can HIV kill a person in any time, anywhere? No. It cannot survive outside the body. Once it leaves the body, its ability to infect drops 90 to 99%. Its main transmission ways are sex, blood, and mother to child. The risk of infection from sexual act is much lower than people think, but never zero. March 19, 1987, the first AIDS drug, AZT, was approved. It was an old leukemia drug, sat in storage for 20 years. Now it became a new lifeline for millions. But HIV replicates 10 billion times a day. Mutations pop up fast. Resistance appeared within months. The breakthrough came in 1996, an international AIDS conference. Chinese-American virologist David Ho proposed a new strategy.
For this cause.
Since the virus mutates fast, so block multiple paths at once, let them know where to escape. 3 or 4 drugs together. Attack reverse transcriptase, integrase, and protease, all at the same time. The probability of virus breaking through all 3 is almost 0. This became HEART. Within 2 years, AIDS deaths in the US dropped 70%. 2009, Timothy Ray Brown was the first recorded HIV cure through bone marrow transplant. As of 2026, 7 people have been cured. 40 years ago, an honest man became a sacrifice. Science can take apart the virus. It can't kill all the prejudice. Only the arrogance and panic would destroy civilization, not the virus. We need sex education to give everyone the truth. We need to know condoms are the defense line. PrEP is a shield. We need to know PEP works within 72 hours after exposure. These facts should not be skipped in class, nor should be avoided at home. The virus doesn't stop just because you feel shame. Shame only makes the condition worse. If you finish this video, share it with someone you care about. Protect yourself. Start by knowing the truth.